This is a 2003 Saab 9.5 2.2 diesel estate. Do you know the best bit about this car? It's mine. That got you, didn't it? Intro. Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. It's Adam Southend Guy Paranormal. As I've promised, this is a very special vlog. This one will be charting the course, the route that Billy Jasper took on that fateful night. Now, first of all, I'm actually going to start at the Palm Hotel. I'll get onto that in a moment. I haven't gone all the way to Canning Town where he initially started for time and fuel purposes. I don't have a lot of either. So what I'm doing, I'm starting at the Palm Hotel, which is on the A127 Southend bound, up Minster. Okay, now if we go back to Canning Town, Billy Jasper picked up the stolen Fiat Uno Turbo at Peacock's Gym in Canning Town. All right, and then what he proceeded to do was come down to 127. He stopped here at Palm Hotel. This was where he picked up Mr. D, and we're going to go and have a look at Palm Hotel right now. Now, as you can see, the place is somewhat run down now, but you've got to cast your minds back to the mid-90s. Okay, would have been a very thriving business. And as I said, this is where Billy Jasper picked up Mr. D. Who was Mr. D? Now, if you followed my stuff on this channel, you've got a very good idea on who Mr. D is. He would have been picked up around here. But it said that Billy Jasper was a little bit, how shall we say? Billy Jasper wasn't too accurate with the times, so I'm guessing better been picked up around about 11:30 from here, and then they'd have driven out where gate is at the top there, just past the sign. Now, I know it's a lovely sunny day today. I did try and do this last night, however the lighting was an issue, so hence I'm doing it today. So what you've got to picture in your heads is this is not the middle of summer, this is December. It's late night, it's cold, it's damp and so on. And you've picked up Mr. D here. You've come from Canning Town, which would have come onto the A12, which brings you onto the A127, and come in here, pick Mr. D up, and we're now going to follow the next route, which will take us to the cab office. Windmill Taxis, where Billy Jasper met Jessie Gow. Now, this is going to be fun because I was hoping to drive in and out of this place, and the gates are shut, so I can't. So I'm going to have to let's get the windows shut, aircon on. There we go. Oh, I'm glad this is a Sunday. So we are now following the route that Billy Jasper would have taken to now go and meet with Jessie Gow. So I'm now having to come back on myself. Oh, thank the Lord for aircon. This is a very warm day today, make no mistake about it. And we haven't had a lot of them this year. So let's excuse the fan noise for a moment. I'm just pumping a bit of cold air into the car. Come off here. So yeah, we've just come off, as you can see. There's the sign for Upminster. I don't know what the road layout would have been back then. I don't expect it to be much different to what it is now. I'm literally following the route that the sat-nav is taking me. So I'm assuming, as this is going to take me the most the most well-known route, they would have done the same thing. So we're now coming back down the 127 towards London. So what was going through Billy Jasper's mind at that time? What was going through Mr. D's mind that evening? What were they talking about? Did they talk at all? We can only guess. So about 2.5 miles away, our sat-nav is saying 6 minutes. It's all green, which means there's no traffic. Well, there's no hold-ups anyway. And we're just going back past Palms Hotel, where Mr. D was picked up. There we go. I bet these speed bumps weren't here back then. Oh, speed camera. What if that was here back then? Oh dear. So we're now about 1.5 miles away, and looking at this road, I suspect this road hasn't changed much in the past 2.5 decades. I can't see really any new properties, so I'm guessing that this road would look pretty much the same as it did back then, apart from the lady with the face shield at the bus stop, obviously, and speed bumps. Bane of my life, these are. Oh, I've got to turn right here. So, I'm going to go right. Oh, there's some properties down here. Look at this. Wow. And another speed bump. I expect some of these properties are a bit new. How many I don't know. All these mini roundabouts, were they here back then as well? And we're coming up to another speed bump. Now, those of you who follow me quite closely know I drive a mobility car. All these poor road conditions knocked the crap out of the suspension in that. We just had to do a change one of the arms to get it for an MOT, and it's only done 56,000. It's crazy, but down to stuff like this. Ooh. I'm glad this car's got great suspension. Oh, days, with the properties down here. I should have put the GoPro on the head cam because I'm having a good nose around at the properties that are here, and they've all got to be like £1 million plus, some of these places. Amazing. And how the other half live. Well, they've done their bit, so fair play to them. So we're half a mile away now. Let's go. Oops. So I'm sat nav's just falling out of the blooming phone holder. So we are coming up. Just sound about. Now again, I don't expect this road would have been much different back then either. Apart from more speed bumps, of course. Actually, I think that's it there. Yes, this is the place right here. So we are now coming into where the cab office was. So this is Windmill Taxis. And we're now going to have a look. So as you've just seen from my dash cam, we'll come down here and then into here. Now according to the statement, this is where they came in here and they met Jesse Gow. Now it was at this point that Billy Jasper noticed the holdall of Mr. D, and he noticed that there was a pump action shotgun in there, I believe it's sawn off, and there was also a 9mm pistol. So I met with Jesse Gow and then proceed along their way. Now, so Mr. D and Billy Jasper have met Jesse Gow here. They've now proceeded out, and what we are doing now is we are heading onto the 127. Now the next place I'm going to stop isn't significant to, well, it's not mentioned. I don't think it's mentioned at all in either his police statement or at call. But the next place I'm going to stop at, although not significant for Billy Jasper's recount, it is for Darren Nichols, and I will explain when I get there. It's been a long while since I've been up this neck of the woods, that's all I can say. Actually, the last time I was here, we were filming at Hornchurch Park, where something tried to attach itself to me. I don't miss that at all. Speed bumps. So yes, as I said, we are heading back to the 127. Eventually. So I wonder what the conversation was like with Jesse Gow, who himself died a couple of years later under mysterious circumstances in a Range Rover his own. Could we cover that for a future episode, I wonder? Be worth looking into. It's just a case of how far down this rabbit hole you want to go. You could literally spend a lifetime on this, which there are other channels out there that have done sterling work on this, trying to get some answers and the rest of it. I'm purely interested in who was there on that night, what they were doing, apart from the obvious. This is what I'm interested in, as I said when we did the second paranormal investigation. Because once you go down that rabbit hole, you know, where do you stop? So I'm literally interested in who was there that night, what they were doing. Come on, Fiesta. Come on, Treacle. Oh, you're turning round. Okay, fair enough. Righto. I don't expect Billy Jasper was having that kind of problem. Mind you, at sort of 11:30 at night, you're not really going to, are you? And that's the other thing you've got to bear whilst I'm out on a Sunday morning. This was late on a Wednesday night that this happened. And we also had nothing like the traffic. Well, we did and we didn't. I mean, obviously we're going to come to what is main road, but it used to be the old A130. We're going to get there. So we got to bear in mind is the stretch of A130 when I used to wasn't there at the time. So although there was less traffic, there wasn't a road that could accommodate the volume of traffic that the A130 even would have seen at that time. So, you know, I can remember what it was like back then. Obviously some of you younger viewers, it's probably a very sort of difficult thing to grasp, I suppose. I mean, what you've got to bear in mind is, like, for technology, sat navs were in their bare infancy at the time, and mobile phones as well. There was no, I think text messages were, if you had a phone that could do text messages, you were probably very rich. The mobile phones we had at the time literally were that, they were mobile phones. They made and received calls, that was pretty much it. And you could get in-car kits. You know, I actually had, funny enough, the car I had before this, before my lovely Saab, was a Mark III Astra Estate. It was one owner from Newey, it was a post office car, and that actually had, still in it, a docking station for a Nokia, was it a 3210? Or, don't quote me on that, but there was a docking station for an old Nokia still in there, which would have been the phone to use at the time. And as I said, you know, there was no Bluetooth or anything. Any in-car kits had to be sort of, you had a separate speaker, there would have been a microphone somewhere plumbed in around the headlining. You know, there was nothing integrated. I mean, a lot of cars at the time still had cassette players. I remember personally the first time I had anything approaching a CD player then was in a Mini, and it was my dad's personal CD player. I borrowed it for the day and plumbed it into the cassette system. You know, the technology was way different. So yes, you had mobile phones, yes, you had laptops, digital cameras were just started to make, they only just started making an appearance, because I was working at PC World at the time of the murders, and we had the Kodak DC-40, and there was a Casio as well. The Kodak wasn't bad actually. Obviously the quality of the pictures is nothing like what we're used to today. You know, it's like a 640 DPI, you know, anything megapixel was way off. So that's the tech that we had at the time. Laptops, yeah, laptops you could get, but you're typically looking 1,500 to 2 grand for a laptop. Now that, you know, you pick up something, well, I have, the last couple of laptops I've had have been 500 quid, and they've been superb. Computer technology at the time, we had Pentium 2 was the new technology for processors, and you could buy your computers with or without a multimedia system. So not every computer had a CD-ROM, for example, and USB ports were, you know, I don't think, no, I think USB ports come in slightly later. The operating system was Windows 95, and that was troublesome in itself. If your computer's hardware was substandard, shall we say, which some computers were built to a budget, as they are now, your operating system would sometimes struggle to recognise what parts were used in that computer. That was the sort of technology we had. Games consoles. The Sony PlayStation 1 was the bee's knees at the time. You had the Atari Jaguar. I had an Atari Jaguar, which was held as a 64-bit games console. The Nintendo SNES and I think the N64 had made an appearance. You could have handheld games consoles like the Atari Lynx, which I also had. Come Saffron. Yeah, the Atari Lynx. You had the Sony Game Gear, obviously the Nintendo Game Boy we all know. Though that was the kind of tech that we had then. and video cameras are nothing like what we've got now. You know, I'm recording today on a mixture of cameras from my GoPro to one of my camcorders, my Sony, and you know, the quality on that is superb. But even that's like 8 years old, the one I'm using today, and it's digital, it's high definition. We had none of that back then. If you had a few quid on you, you'd have probably bought a high 8 or something like that. That would have been the kind of thing available back then, because obviously no digital recording technology, it was all done on tape. It was a very different time, but it was great. You know, what technology we had was enough to, I'd say, be interesting, but I'd say the tech that we had wasn't to the detriment of being sociable. You know, you look around these days and, you know, in a pub and everyone's mucking about on their phone on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, so on and so forth. You know, that is how it is now. And as I said, back then you were lucky if you had a mobile phone. I had a mobile phone from working at Rumbelows. Before PC World, I worked at Rumbelows. Those of you with a long memory will remember Rumbelows closed down, and obviously that left Dixon's and Comet, I think, and Tower was another one. You know, those were the places then. I'd got a Mercury 1-to-1, which later became T-Mobile, and because I worked at Rumbelows, I was able to get staff discount. So yeah, that's what we got. But it was a Mercury M301, that's what I had. It was a flip phone. It was the front flip down, which covered the keypad, which at the time was quite handy, because people used to forget to lock their keys. So if you was on someone's redial, you could expect a what we call an arse dial, where someone's pocket would dial out, you know, that sort of thing. You know, the aerial used to pull out, and you'd have, okay, right, we're coming up now, and you'd have a docking station, and in that docking station you put your phone and most likely a spare battery. Oh, hello. Right, now I'm going to tell you something now. After I've done this, I'm getting out of my bike. That's all I'm saying, because it's great weather today. As I said, you know, this is superb weather, and I'm actually doing this from my car, but rest assured, once this vlog is done, I've got something else to do, and then I'm out on my bike. Come on, girl. Let's put you into low. Oh, bloody hell. What does he think he's Jags? Right, so I'm just going to stop here, and then I'm going to carry on with this. The reasons become apparent. Do. And so the reason why I've stopped here at the halfway house is, if you remember Darren Nichols' version of events, he highlights this place. Now, this is where he allegedly stopped with Jack, and obviously he also spoke about it. He remembers the halfway house from when his parents used to take him to the seaside. Obviously would have come down to 127 to go into Southend. So why was this place of note? Why did he mention this place? Why did he say that in his witness statements? Was it due to the fact that if that was indeed Darren, Mr. D, that was in with Billy Jasper, did he come past this place with Billy Jasper, and it stuck in his memory. So he thought he'd add that to his story to give it some credence. What do you think?
Yeah.
I've got a feeling that is why he said it. He drove past here with Billy. It was a place of note. Okay, so yeah, so that slight diversion there was just to take in Darren Nichols and what he said. So now what we're doing, we're going back on the 127, and what I'm actually going to do now is look at what Billy Jasper was saying to the police when he took them on the route to where he dropped off Mr. D. Now, when Mr. D was with him that night, Mr. D gave him the directions. So obviously when he was with the police, Mr. D wasn't there, so he's having to do this by memory, and it is quite different in the daytime to what it is in the dark. Now we will all know that from when we've gone to unusual places. You know, if we've gone there once in the daytime, one at dark, it does look very different. And again, you know, we have the benefit of sat nav now. Back then you wouldn't have done. So it's very much a case of memory. So you obviously need to bear in mind, much like sat nav does anyway, but it's doubtful whether we'd have taken any sort of back routes or anything like that. It has stuck to the main roads, which is what we're doing now. We're on the 127, and there we go. There's Basil Drain. What are you doing, you silly plonker? So there's a Focus behind me. He's decided to I was going to go down the slip road for something. So up how you can do it now. That's it, well done. Honestly, some people when they're driving, I'm perfect, mate. Yeah, believe that, believe anything. But anyway, yeah, we're just coming into Basildon, so we're not far from the A130 turn off. We are now just coming up to the Fortune of War roundabout. Now there used to be a pub here. Again, back in the 90s, there was a pub here called the Fortune of War, just over the other side, so where McDonald's is. You can probably see there are houses there now. Well, that used to be a pub, and this used to be a proper roundabout. This, the two bits in the middle, as you can see, the crash barriers, they weren't there at the time, and there was a pub called the Fortune of War. Now when I do, I've got two more Rettendon episodes planned. The one that you know about, we're going to go back to where the lakes were. I'm hoping to try and get some aerial shots if I can, and I'm also going to look at the alternative timeline to the one that Darren Nichols gave. And in that alternative timeline there was a mention from who was the landlord at the Fortune of War that he saw all three of them in that pub that night. Now I haven't got the specifics with me, but I do recount that tale. So I would like to include that with the alternative timeline to see if we can paint a very different picture to the one that Darren Nichols gave. Oh, bugger. Oh shit, no, I can't do that. That is exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm actually going to turn the camera off for a minute because we appear to hit traffic which is going into Southend. It's going to do my car no good at all because it don't like it. Well, my transmission doesn't anyway. I'm going to switch off for a minute so my battery. I've just had to take a little diversion because the traffic hold up that you just saw was down to the maintenance road people who have shut the 127 down to one lane in that bit. So I just took a little run round the houses, so to speak. We're back on the 127 now. Now coming up, we're gonna pull off and head towards Rettendon. I was I was panicking slightly then because I thought, oh crumbs, this can't be the traffic all the way back into Southend. Fortunately it wasn't. As I said, it was just where they coned off one lane, so everyone's obviously trying to squeeze into one lane. But this bit looks reasonably good. Come on, sunshine, come on. And that'll be the Dick Turpin on the left. A great biker haunt on a Tuesday and a car night on a Wednesday, of course. Now we're going to have a couple more steps to go on the route of Billy Jasper. And as I've just said, the next bit, I'm going to follow the route that he took the police rather than when Mr. D was directing him, because obviously when Mr. D was with him, he directed him straight to Rectory Lane. And when Billy went back of his own accord with the police, obviously he was trying to remember the route, which would look a bit different in the daytime to what it would in the evening. And you'll see what I mean when we get closer to it. We're now coming off the 127. We're heading on to the A130 as it was then. I can't remember these lights were here back in '95. They could well have been. They just jumped to red. Well done, Mr. Vauxhall. And we are now heading up what was the old A130. Now, this hasn't changed much. What's here? Apart from they're building new stuff over on that site. There used to be on the other side of the road a greasy spoon, which has long since gone. I think the base of it's still there, but the rest of it's just the rest of it's no longer there. Anyway, we're coming up to the Carpenter's Arms roundabout. Now, again, in the alternative timeline that I will look at, there is a report of someone fitting Craig Rolfe's description meeting someone at this pub. I don't think we're going to see it as I go round, but if you take the first on the left, if you take the first exit off this roundabout, it takes you straight to the Carpenter's Arms pub. Of course, we're going straight over. And then back up the A130, or as it was then. Jack. So, again, we're on the old A130. Up on the left, we've got what used to be Good Companions Garage, and then we've got Raworth Garage. I've done my apprenticeship for them. It's a bit of a blast in the past, that place. And anyway, we're going to crack on. So the next bit we're going to come up to will be the Rettendon Turnpike. As I recall, yeah, it was two. I'm sure it was two roundabouts back then. I'm pretty sure it was. In fact, yeah. The only difference being is obviously the new part of the A130. There's a slip road for that, which wasn't there all them years ago. But the rest of it would be a little different. When I come back, I'm going to stop more or less somewhere here. Because I need to look at something. Now coming up to the Rettendon Turnpike. Now when here we go. Bit. Yeah, I've done the same thing. Come on, go. Move. That's it. Right. Yeah. It's caught myself out there. Now, when Billy Jasper took the police up here, he actually came off here, which was the old A130, when he should have taken the next exit. So that was the mistake he made. So he come up here with the police. Now I'm going to make an educated guess on how far he came up, because he said he turned around at a petrol station, which is no longer there. I believe it's a hand car wash now, so that's why I'm going to take the educated guess. Can you imagine what the traffic was like all that time ago when there was no bypass? Is there anything? There's something coming. Get my boot. That's it. Going through the Rettendon village. All that filming I did in December and February, it seems like a lifetime away now, to be honest. Even though in reality, I mean, February was what, 5 months ago, and obviously December was 7-8 months ago. Anyway, yeah, it would have come down from what I can from the description that Billy Jasper gave. Now on the right hand side is Workhouse Lane, where that red car just pulled out from. that is work house lane, as we know. So he would have gone past that. I think Billy was somewhat oblivious to where it was. Boris, enough's enough. Yeah, right. Yes. Well done to that farm there. Yeah, would have come down. Quite a bit before. I think he'd have sort of sussed out he'd come down the wrong, he'd taken the wrong direction. A few horses out today. What we would have done was, now just coming up on the left there, you can see the hand car wash. Now this used to be a petrol station, so I would have swung in here, I'm not going to spin around in there because they're washing cars, so I'm just going to try and get out of here now. It's going to be fun. Right, here we go. We'll spin. Whee! So we would have come back down here now, but that's where it would have turned around right there. And we're now going to head back down to Rettendon Turnpike. So we're now back at the Rettendon Turnpike, now going left. Into Woodham Road. So we're now heading up Woodham Road. Now he mentioned a car place and a nursery. Obviously here's a car place there, one there as well. We've got another one up the left, up here. And there's the nursery. Obviously all were mentioned in Billy Jasper's statement. So next we are taking a left into Rectory Lane. We'd have carried on all the way down. As I said, I made the assumption when I did that last vlog that he carried on, and what Billy Jasper said was the gate was on the left, but there was a gate opposite him as well. Yeah, that's fine. So I'll just be sat nav. Oh, this was so much more easy on the bike. And these are the houses that he mentioned. He said about houses being down here. Again, there's more houses. And then we come as far as we go. Now I'm going to stop there, and here we are. We are at the bottom of the lane. Now Billy Jasper described a gate to the left, which is there. I mean, that gate doesn't look 25 years old. If it is, it's whoever made it should pat themselves on the back. But I can imagine there was a gate there beforehand, because those the bricks either side, they're old enough. Mention the gate to the left. There was a gate opposite. Now what we've got here is a clearing. Was there a gate there prior to this bit of fencing? Could well have been. So Mr. D's hopped over the fence. He's gone along the tree line. Billy Jasper is waiting here, and he said, I believe he said he had to turn around, which he could have done there. All right, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So he's turned around. He's waiting for Mr. D to come back. Mr. D's come back over here. Got in, and I understand he had two holdalls, one with the guns in, and I think the other one had 4K of coke in it. Now that leads to a question: why was there an empty holdall in the back of Tucker Tate and Rolf's Range Rover? Could there have been 4K of coke in there? That'll be for another time. So anyway, that's what's gone on. We've got Mr. D back. We jumped in Billy Jasper's car. If you can try and picture, this isn't a Saab, it's a Fiat Uno Turbo. Okay, it's a bit of a stretched imagination, I know, but if you can imagine that as a Fiat Uno Turbo. Alright, so jump back in, turn around, gone back up the lane. That's exactly what we're going to do. And then the last bit of our journey is going to come up, because basically what happens next, there's two more events that happen. One is that Billy Jasper didn't give way at a giveaway point, which I'm assuming is the roundabout. And then the next bit is where Mr. D stopped to throw the bag with the guns, I believe, into the river, which is the River Crouch. Now there's actually two bridges over River Crouch. One is Battles Bridge itself, but I don't believe they went that way because it's not on the main route, it is out of the way. Whereas the bridge on the A130 is the original bridge. So did he stop there and throw his bag in that river? So that's where we're going to go next. So now we've picked up Mr. D, we are now heading back. Now you've already seen this lane, so I'm not going to bore you with going back up it, because as you see it was quite tedious getting down it. Now I've just quickly stopped here because as I've driven back, could this have been the point? Now as you can see, we've got gates there. There is a gate there. There were two gates. So could this have been the entrance point instead? Now I've assumed it was down the bottom, but could it have been here? I'll let you work that one out. It could have been either or. We're now heading back towards Rettendon Turnpike. And Billy Jasper said he failed to give way here, and Mr. D was a bit annoyed about it. Particularly when people don't indicate. I'm sure they used to indicate in 1995. We haven't suddenly forgotten how. Mate, get shot. Oh, he found it. Well done. Oh, that'll do. So we're now heading back down the old A130 to the last bit of this vlog. Whee! Nice one, Pratt. Freaking people. Over the railway line, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to stop in a little lay-by bit here. Where are you? There. Right, so I'm just going to stop in here for a minute. So I'm going to walk this last little bit, because I'm not really going to, although this isn't the main road anymore, it is a main road still, it is busy, so I've just stopped in a little like slip road thing, and I'm going to walk this last bit. But in the report, what Billy Jasper said was that Mr. D threw the stuff in the river. This is the main bridge over the River Crouch. Now, as I said, there is another bridge further down in Battles Bridge, but I couldn't imagine them going down there. It would have been out of their way, and it's not a main route for them. So let's stop here. Did they stop here? This is the only logical place I could have stopped. Now, obviously the bridge over there, that's part of the new A130. That wasn't there, all right? This would have been the only bridge. If we look around, that is the River Crouch, okay? So, would have come down here, probably stopped here, all right? It might have stopped where I've parked my car. It probably would have, I would imagine that someone like that had just pulled up on here. In the river it goes. Are the guns for that night sitting in there? Did anyone come back for them? Or were they still there? Are they still there? Now it is, I'd say there's a good few feet of water there. Further up where Battles Bridge itself is, it's more tidal. But that bit, as you can see, the level's pretty constant. In fact, I would say at the time, because it was winter, obviously it's wet, the level probably been even higher. Oh, the shooter's still in there. Well, that about wraps it up for me, ladies and gentlemen, because after this they headed straight back to Woodford Way. So we would have dropped Mr. D back off up Minster, and Billy would have gone back to Canning Town. And that was that, and obviously the rest we know. Now I'm gonna, as I said, I am gonna do a couple more specials on the Rettendon murders. I'm going to go and look at the lakes, hopefully get some aerial footage, and I am also going to look at the alternative timeline and see how that compares to Darren Nichols' turn of events. So again, thank you very much for sticking with this more feature-length vlog this time. I do hope you enjoyed this. Again, leave your thoughts and ideas down below. We all like to discuss this. This is such a fascinating case, as we all know. And I'm going to leave it there. Obviously this Wednesday we are back at Pluckley for the last bit. That's Pluckley Woods. We had some fascinating stuff come up there. It didn't feel pleasant, that's all I can say. So thanks once again, everybody. I'm going home now to get on my motorbike because everyone else is out, and it's rude not to. Thanks once again for watching. See you on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.